A homemaker is a man who stays at home while his partner goes to work. His job includes everything traditional stay-at-home wives typically do, plus general house repairs, car maintenance, and lawn care. A householder's wife may occasionally help with cooking and/or childcare, but the husband primarily takes care of these things. I'm not sure I would have survived this job if it had started when my 3 children were young. We were a family of modest means, so all the kids went to kindergarten while my wife and I tried to earn enough money to maintain a middle-class lifestyle. Once my children entered high school, my wife enrolled in an MBA program because her employer reimbursed the cost of tuition. This meant I had to do more to keep the household afloat while she studied and attended classes online and in school. I didn't mind the extra work because I knew an MBA would allow her to advance in her job and earn a higher salary. Amy's MBA program was aimed at executives who worked full-time, so it took almost 3 years to complete. By that time, the children had already left for college. Luckily, all 3 were very good students and were in the running for several scholarships. However, having 3 children in college is a huge financial burden. I worked for a small family-owned manufacturing company as an accounting department manager. I was paid a fair salary, but nothing like large corporation CPAs. Amy's hard work finally paid off, and she was promoted to Executive Vice President of Product Development at the multinational insurance company she had worked for over 15 years. The new job meant she received a significant raise, a car allowance, an expense account, and a share of year-end bonuses with everyone else in the corporation. Her new windfall couldn't have come at a better time. The economy suffered a sharp downturn, and my employer was particularly hard hit. They fought for almost a year and then sold the business to our main competitor. The new owners wasted no time in gutting our capacity and closing the plant. The new owners offered me a job at their factory, but it was 300 miles away. The salary would have been a little less than what I was making, which was about a third of what Amy was making, not including bonuses. I had no choice but to turn down the job, and just like that, I found myself unemployed. I tried to find a new job and quickly realized that no one in our area was going to hire new workers until the economy improved. John, this is not the end of the world. I'm doing well. We have enough money and college funds to put the kids through school, so don't worry so much. I know, but I've worked all my life. I can't just sit back. Oh, don't worry. I have an extended list of dear things that you never had time for, so you won't have to sit idly by, she said with a smile. That's how it started. I became a stay-at-home mom at the age of 48. Amy's list was really extensive, and it took me the better part of a year to complete all the home improvement projects she suggested. Once I completed the house, she began the very labor-intensive landscaping projects. While I worked to improve our home, Amy continued to climb the corporate ladder. She was promoted to senior EVP and received a significant salary increase. She loved her job and was highly respected by the other bigwigs. She was often invited to parties and social events, where she interacted with the most influential people in the city. Of course, I was required to accompany her to many of these events. I'm not sure when this first started happening, but very slowly I began to realize a change in the way Amy treated me at these events. At first, she insisted that I be attached to her while she flitted around, having short, meaningless conversations with all the important people. Gradually, she began to ask me to wait on our table or sit at the bar while she worked in the hall. Soon, I was spending most evenings entertaining the boss's wives or just sitting alone. Things finally became unbearable for me when she took me to a beautiful resort for the weekend. The first evening, she left me with the wives and was gone for almost 3 hours. The next day, she told me that she had several meetings with other senior managers and board members. She said the wives had planned a spa day. Okay. What should I do all day? I can't hang out with women while they're taking mud baths and shit. I don't know, John. Go hiking or something. I have important things to do, and I don't have time to entertain you. I held my tongue. I knew she was a little tense, but I swore to myself that this would be the last time she dragged me to one of these events. Okay, don't worry about me. I'll be fine. I ended up hanging out by the pool and the little tiki bar next to it. I had just finished my second gin and tonic when I saw several people come out onto the raised terrace of one of the large conference rooms and take seats under umbrellas. I recognized Amy. She was accompanied by a tall, distinguished-looking gentleman. He put his hand on the small of her back and pointed to one of the tables at the edge of the terrace. I watched them sit down and move their chairs closer to each other. He put his arm around her shoulders as she leaned against him. None of the others approached them, and I saw her gently kiss his cheek several times. He smiled at her and leaned down to whisper in her ear. She giggled and slapped his arm as he laughed. This went on for 30 minutes. Then they got up and went back inside with everyone else. I replayed what I saw in my head. They were certainly much more comfortable than two married people should be with someone who is not their spouse. I noticed that they were only mildly concerned that their colleagues were seeing their overly friendly behavior, which made me wonder what might be going on behind closed office doors. Although I met all of her colleagues, I didn't know the guy she was with. I assumed he was a board member, but had to check. I headed back to our room to get my laptop out and do some digging. It only took a few seconds to find a photo of Stephen Swanson, chairman of Mega Insurance Corp. Stephen was married to Margot Davis Swenson, daughter of William Davis, former director and founder of Mega Insurance Corporation. That was interesting. If anything, Amy is playing with fire. Old Stevie married the boss's daughter, and her daddy was still the majority shareholder of the corporation. Amy sat next to me at dinner that night. She chatted with several other EVPs and seemed to be enjoying herself. I spoke to Diana, the trophy wife, sitting next to me. I was surprised to find that she was attractive and had a wicked sense of humor. I really enjoyed chatting with her and taking quick glances at the impressive cleavage she was showing off. After the tables were cleared, the lights went out and the music started playing. Amy took a moment to lean into my ear and explain that she would be dancing with several of her co-workers. These were the first words she had spoken to me in over an hour. She didn't wait for my answer, got up and headed to the dance floor with some guy. Diana spoke up. Better get used to it. Us spouses are usually ignored in such things. I can't believe your husband left you unattended among all these alpha males. She laughed. I'm sure he went off to dance with the wife of one of the board members, trying to win over as many as possible. He simply assumes that some minor bigwigs will ask me to dance, and I will dutifully sing the praises of each of them. Oh, well, perhaps before you begin your task, you could do me the honor of dancing. That is, if you're not too embarrassed by being seen with your EVP spouse. She grinned. You're about 20 years younger than my usual dance partners, so I expect you to not drool all over my cleavage. I'm not promising anything. The cleavage is definitely drool-worthy, but I'll do my best to control myself. Diana pressed her breasts against my chest as we danced. I managed not to drool. Our dance was interrupted when her hubby intervened and then took her away, only to hand her over to his boss. I think he wanted her to place her assets where he thought they could benefit him. I sat at the table and watched Amy dance with several board members before settling solely on Stephen Swanson. After their fourth or fifth dance, the band took a break and he and Swanson walked over to his table. I thought about leaving, but decided to watch a little longer. At some point, Amy looked in my direction and saw that I was sitting alone. A few moments later, she walked over to the table and sat down across from me. John, this must be very boring for you. Why don't you just go back to the room and I'll come over later after I've gotten myself in proper shape. Well, the orchestra is magnificent and I wouldn't want to end the evening without at least one dance with my charming wife. If you could squeeze me into the queue. John, this is business, important business. Now, please just do as I ask and we can talk about it later. She got up and left. I stared after her. I was fired. This bitch actually told me, go to your room. It's like I was a naughty child. I was furious, but there was no reason for me to just sit there and be ignored. I waited a little and then got up and left. I didn't want to sulk in my room, so I went to the small bar off the resort lobby. It was quiet and I needed to reassess my situation. It was clear to me that Amy was or would soon be involved with Svensson. I wasn't about to put up with it, but so far I had no evidence of any wrongdoing on Amy's part. I sipped my drink for a while and decided to call it a night. I walked back past the event hall and looked inside. Amy was on the dance floor, pressed against Svensson. His hand was low on her back, but not quite on her ass. I asked one of the staff what time the orchestra would play, and he said they would finish at 11 Fox and the hall would close at midnight. I must have dozed off a bit as I sat in bed watching TV. The lights were off, but I could clearly see that the clock read 1:20 when Amy pushed open our door. She must have expected me to be asleep because she gasped when I turned on the side light. Her hair was disheveled and her lipstick was gone. I looked her up and down and she blushed deeply. I thought you were going to sleep. I only drank 3 glasses the whole evening. I'm pissed, not drunk. Do you want to tell me where you've been? You know where I was. Dancing. I told you that I need to dance with my colleagues and appear in public. It's all part of the game, John, she said as if she were talking to a slow-learning child. Try again first. The orchestra left at 11 say. So what have you been doing for the last 2.5 hours? I talked to Svensson. Margot is in Europe with her mother, so he's here alone. We went back to his room and talked about his plans for the company and how he thought I could fit into those plans. So you just spent 2 hours talking. I used air quotes in his room and left me to fend for myself. Then you sneak in here with your hair disheveled, no lipstick, and wearing heels. This must have been some seriously tedious conversation. Think what you want. I need to take a shower and get some sleep. Tomorrow we have another half day of meetings. Oh, I told Steven that I would go to dinner with him tomorrow night. We have to leave in the morning and your meeting ends at noon. What the hell are we going to do before dinner? She kicked off her shoes and put her hands on her hips. You're going home. I'm going to go back to his lake house with Steven for dinner. So you're leaving at noon to spend the day at his lake house. When do you expect to be home? I don't know if it's too late. I'll just come back on Monday morning. Damn it, you won't do this. You're going to spend all day and all night having sex with this asshole and then come back to my house. First of all, I never said anything about having sex with him. And second of all, this is my fucking house, not yours. He belongs to me. I just stared at her, my mouth open. When I completed all the work on the house, Amy refused to use her annual bonus to pay off the construction loan. She insisted that we refinance the house. Since I was unemployed, I did not get a mortgage and Amy insisted that I not participate in the act unless I was on a mortgage. This drove me nuts. But we were planning on moving shortly after I finished all the improvements. I just assumed I'd be back at work and decorating the new house by then. So I let it slide. She stood there with her hands on her hips and a smirk on her face. I got out of bed and started getting dressed. I grabbed my suitcase and threw it on the bed. I yanked open the drawers and began stuffing my clothes into my suitcase. So what now? Are you going to run away? Where are you going to go? You have no home, no job, no money. So where the hell do you think you're going? Fuck you, Amy. I'd rather sleep in my car than let you get away with this crap. I won't be your cuckold. I'll divorce your cheating ass. You're a stupid, stupid dude. You have nothing. Your ass belongs to me. I make all the money. Without me, you would be on the street. Now stop being a big baby. Tomorrow I need to discuss this with Steven, and he will support me as COO. This will double my salary and triple my bonus at the end of the year. I can buy us a really nice house in a prestigious area. I don't need another house. I want a faithful wife who cares about me, about us, and our marriage. Please, Amy, don't give in to him. You don't have to do this. You can get the job yourself without sex with him. Amy shook her head, looked down at the carpet, and muttered, "It's too late." Then I realized that she had already slept with him. I was already a cuckold. Her plan for tomorrow was much the same. I looked at her with disgust. You slept with him? Oh my God, you killed us? Don't be stupid, John. We can have it all. So I slept with him, no big deal. A quick shower, and I'm good as new. This will all be over by Monday morning, and we will be ready for life. It's just part of the game. I know that in a few days you will forget about all this. I stuffed the last of my clothes into my suitcase and slammed it shut, grabbed my jacket, and ran out. I jumped into my car and drove away. The phone beeped and chirped. I know I should have been heartbroken, but mostly I was just numb. While I was driving, the traffic thinned out. I turned on the cruise control and leaned back in my seat. I thought back over the past 6 months and realized that Amy began to change shortly after her first promotion. She was consumed by ambition and the desire to be recognized as a success. Now she put power and wealth above all else. She no longer valued love, devotion, family, and fidelity. Now it was all about her, about what she could achieve, about the power she had, and about the money she made. Knowing that she had changed and was no longer the sweet, loving, caring woman I married filled me with sadness. I wiped away a few tears as I mourned the loss of the woman I had loved for 20 years. Monday morning, I woke up terrified. I called the lawyer who worked with me at my old job. He gave me the name of a family law lawyer, and I called the office and told him I was seeking a divorce. Mr. Dixon, Ms. Hawk usually represents only those women who are at a severe disadvantage in divorce. These are mostly housewives with unfaithful husbands. I'm not sure why your lawyer told you her name. I am a householder. My wife is a high-ranking leader and an adulteress. There was silence for a moment. Oh my God, this will be her first time. Can you be here by 11:30? I walked into Sally Hawk's office at 11:20. Her secretary broke into a smile when she greeted me. I waited about 20 minutes before an attractive, short, dark-haired lady walked into the reception area. "Mr. Dixon, I'm Sally Hawk. Please come into my office." I told her my story and she took notes as I spoke. "So, you were a stay-at-home mom for about 2 years? I lost my job when my employer sold the company and our business was closed. My wife just got a big promotion and I couldn't find a job in my field. She convinced me to stay home and make improvements to our home. She planned to sell our house as soon as I finished all the renovations and buy a bigger and better house." "Wait, so it was her idea for you to become a stay-at-home dad?" "Yes, she liked that I cooked, cleaned, did the laundry, and set up the house while she was free to pursue her career." "Great. So when did you first begin to suspect that there was a problem in your marriage?" "To be honest, I only recently started to suspect that she was cheating. But looking back, I think it probably started almost a year ago. She admitted her infidelity last weekend, which is why I'm here today. Mr. Dixon, I'm sorry this is happening to you, but I promise that you will get through this and I will make sure that you are treated fairly in the divorce." "So, you said that your wife admitted to cheating. Do you have any evidence of this? Did you record her confession?" "No, I didn't write it down. From what I've observed, I'm guessing most of her coworkers know what she's doing." "Okay, although this is a no-fault state, I'd like to get some adultery so I can use it as leverage in a settlement. Would you mind if my investigator poked around a little? I use Masters Investigations." "Jack, Masters is an old friend of mine, and his people are very reliable. Of course, I think I need to take some money from the bank before she freezes it." "I assume you have a joint account?" "Yes, a small home checking account at Chase that I use. Most of our money is in a managed portfolio that is jointly owned. She has several accounts in her name alone." "Okay, when we're done, go to Chase and withdraw everything but $1. Go ahead and deposit the money, but don't tell me where. I will get her investment account frozen and demand the disclosure of all her assets." I was just leaving the bank when Jack Masters called me. "Mr. Dixon, Sally Hawk asked me to call you. Do you have a moment to talk alone?" I got into my car and locked the door. "Yes, I'm in my car." I parked near the bank. Sally told me most of the details. "My people will start gathering information this afternoon. What are your plans? Are you planning to stay in the house?" "I can't afford to move out until I cash out some of our investment funds." "Okay, you can't make her leave, so I suggest moving to another bedroom and installing a secure lock. I can get someone to do this if you want. In addition, I want to install some surveillance equipment in your home as soon as possible. I'm heading home now. I'll stop, pick up a set of locks, and be home in 40 minutes. I installed a lock while the Masters team installed several tiny cameras throughout the house. I moved all my clothes to the room farthest from my old room. I was really happy that I installed a separate small bathroom when I remodeled the top floor. Early that evening, my phone vibrated, alerting me to traffic in my driveway. The new camera gave me a clear view of Amy getting out of the limo, but I couldn't tell if anyone else was in the car. The driver carried the bags inside and then drove off. I was in my new room, watching split screens on my laptop while Amy walked around the house, screaming my name. She walked into the master bedroom and looked around. When she opened my empty closet, she exclaimed, "Damn." She looked into the bathroom and then left her bedroom. A few moments later, she tried my doorknob. "John, are you there? What do you want?" "John, dear, please open the door. Why are all your things missing from our room?" "Your room? Now my room is here." "John, are you serious? Why on earth would you want to move out of our room? Now stop this nonsense right now and let me in." "No, you are not welcome in my room. Go take a shower and wash off your lover's stink. I'll meet you in the kitchen when you've cleaned yourself up." I heard a sigh and then she stomped away. On the laptop, I saw her undressing as she headed into the master bathroom. I walked out into the hallway and locked my door before going down to the kitchen. I used the phone to see what was happening in the bedroom. I shook my head when I saw her first put on a sexy bra and then shed it to wear a t-shirt without a bra. I knew what she was trying to do, but that didn't stop me from watching her impressive rack bounce as she walked down the stairs and toward the table I was sitting at. "Look, everything is beautiful and clean, like new. So, are you happy now?" "Happy? Are you kidding me? I may never be happy again. You slept with that bastard. You destroyed us. I'm done with you." She looked shocked for just a moment, then became angry. "Now listen to me, John Dixon. Nothing changed. Nothing will change. You need to get over your stupid, jealous snarkiness and stop being like that. Yes, I slept with him, big deal. So what? Who cares? I slept with him, and now he has to vote for me when I run for chief. It was a business, nothing more. Now go and move your things back to our bedroom. How many are there, Amy? How much what? What the hell are you talking about? How many more have you fucked? Were they all for business, or were there a few of them just for fun? What? How can you ask me this? Steven is the only one in the world, and you know why I did this to him. He was okay, but not nearly as good as you. Really? I'm a little surprised that you can even remember what it's like with me. I mean, let's face it. It's been a long time since I've had sex with you, and it's been a long time since we've made love. It is not true. Amy stopped and cocked her head to the side. We had sex. It was just. Her voice trailed off. If I'm not mistaken, you fucked me pretty hard the night your last promotion was announced. But that was about 6 months ago. Of course, quite a lot of time has passed. Oh my God, John. I'm so sorry. I was just so caught up in my work. I'm sorry, baby. I'll make it up to you, I promise. You promise? You mean like on our wedding day when you vowed to leave everyone else? Is this the promise you make to me? Well, if that's the case, forget it. I don't need any more false promises. Damn it, John. You must forget about it. My relationship with Steven is over. It's in the past. I admit I was too caught up in winning his support, but I'm done with it. Please come back to our bed. Let me make it up to you. Thank you very much for your kind offer of sloppy seconds, but I will refuse. I'm sure you had sex with him again this morning. And even if I made you take a shower, it wouldn't change anything. So again, no thanks. Wonderful. Be an asshole. You can just stay in your room and pleasure yourself. I don't need you for sex. There are plenty of guys available to me. Maybe I should fuck all the men on the list. Heck, I could be a director in a couple of weeks. Amy turned and stomped back up the steps. Sally looked at the recordings of my conversation with Amy. She told me to be polite and avoid her. After just 3 days, Jack's guys were able to determine that Amy had probably been doing something sexual with the head of HR and with Steven before she was promoted to SEVP. But there was no proof. The report confirmed my suspicions that she began cheating when she received her first big promotion. I suggested that if she cheated to get a senior EVP and to get a shot at the COO job, what would she be willing to do for a board seat? She was clearly willing to use her body to get whatever she wanted, and I just couldn't live with it. I asked Sally to be served. Jack's guys found Amy's offshore account and forced Sally to release all of Amy's salary data. Over the past few years, she has asked for some stock options in lieu of salary increases. Sally suggested that Amy planned to gradually increase her stake in the company in order to gain a seat on the board of directors. Sally was true to her word. I received half of our stock portfolio and some of the cash from Amy. I will also receive half the price of the house when it sells. So after paying off Sally, I ended up with about $600,000 in cash and stock. The house was appraised at $650,000, so Amy will owe me about $300,000 when it sells. I won't be rich, but I won't starve either. Sally must have thought I was a normal guy because she introduced me to a recently divorced lady, Carol Hillman, who had gotten a small manufacturing company from her cheating husband when he ran off with his accountant. Sally helped Carol realize that she didn't need a husband, but she desperately needed a good accountant, and she hired me after my first interview. I'd been working for Carol for 3 months when she asked me to review her finances. I helped her figure it out and even filed an amended tax return to give her $3,000 back. She invited me to dinner as a thank you, and I readily agreed. After dinner and 2 bottles of wine, Carol told me that she was lonely and needed male company. At 55, she was still an attractive woman and I had no other offers, so we became sex buddies. It wasn't difficult to keep our special relationship a secret from the other employees. Truth be told, I think I'm falling in love with Carol. I believe that she has fallen in love with me too, so I will have to talk to her soon. About a month after my divorce was finalized, Amy was nominated for the CEO position, and Steven gave a long-winded speech to the board about how wonderful she was. Shortly before the vote to approve her promotion, an anonymous email arrived on the phones of all board members. It was Amy's voice saying that she fucked Steven for his support. The board voted to reject Steven's recommendation and return William Davis as director. William's first act in his new old position was to fire Steven, his soon-to-be ex-son-in-law. The second thing William did was make his daughter CEO. As chief executive, Margot Davis called Amy Dixon into her office and told her that her services were no longer needed at Megains Corporation. I was very sorry to hear about Amy's unsuccessful career, and I sympathized with Amy as I walked through her lane at the market. The other customers were just as shocked as I was when Amy burst into tears and started throwing groceries at me. The manager fired her on the spot. God, 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 it looks like she's really having a hard time holding down a job. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you. And go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one.